2056 for this Wednesday, the 22nd of July 2015. And today, Shawn will be pissed at the Wall Street analysts. We'll be chatting with Jim, as we always do, or as Shawn always does, from theloopinsight.com, and he'll be pissed at Apple Music. And I will not be pissed at anybody, because I'm such a nice person. And on the starting point photography portion, Shawn will be talking about a new app he's found that's called Typorama. It's something he likes to play around with. So all work and no play makes Shawn a dull boy. So to make him more dull, I make him work by handing it over to him now.
Wow, that was tortured. Holy mackerel, that took a while.
That didn't feed in like I thought it would.
Really didn't. It sounded better in your head, right? It sounded much better in your head. Yeah, we'll be talking, Jim will definitely be ranting. He's understandably pissed at Apple Music. Have you had any problems with Apple Music? Have you guys found any issues with it? I know I found some weird interface quirks on it and some annoyances when it comes to the way it presents information. For example, one of my favorite bands is The Clash. And so this morning I was listening to a For You playlist for The Clash. Apple set this up, and so it's in the For You section. So I click on The Clash. Oh, yeah, rocking out. And so, of course, I clicked the little, now this is on the desktop. I click on the heart logo, and then I go to add music. Well, I do that. So I click heart, I click add to my music, but there's nowhere to add it to a playlist. All right, fine, whatever. Next song comes up. Great, another great Clash song. Click heart, click to add to my music. It won't let me add to my music. I do this for like 15 songs, and 3 of them I couldn't add to my music. None of them could I add to a playlist, and 3 of them I couldn't add to my music. Now, someone said maybe it's a rights issue. I doubt that very much. It's got to be just another one of many Apple user interface bugs and glitches with Apple Music. I'm still listening to it. I'm still using it. But Jim has said he's stopped. He's so pissed off at Apple Music. He's not going to use it at all. He's got a story up on The Loop at loopinsight.com. You can read if you so choose. But let us know what your experience is with Apple Music. Are you having these same sorts of issues, or is stuff getting deleted? Which is an awful, awful thing for Apple Music to be doing. You should never, under any circumstances, delete things off your own playlist, off your own hard drive, off your own cloud service. There should not be delete ability for Apple Music. And yet, a lot of people are saying, including Jim lost 4,700 songs.
What?
4,700 songs of Apple Music. So you can see why he's pissed. Because everyone says you should have a backup. Yes, Jim acknowledges in the interview in the piece he should have had a backup. But then other folks say, well, just re-rip it from the CD. Well, some of those CDs he doesn't have anymore. I know there's all kinds of music on my computer, on my backups, that I don't have the CD for anymore because I don't need the CD. I don't listen to CDs anymore. Why clutter up your life with this stuff? So we'll talk to Jim about that. We're also going to talk about Apple announcements, or Apple quartz. I think it's Q3. Third quarter announcements where they made buttloads of money, and they sold buttloads of iPhones and buttloads of Macs, and yet Wall Street still whacked their PP for it. It's down $5 from $6 from its high on Tuesday, which is just utterly ridiculous. So we'll talk about that. And as Kim said, as I said in the pre-show, the old line of a picture's worth 1,000 words. Well, sometimes you want to add words to a picture as description or as fun, or say you wanted to give it as a card to somebody. There's all kinds of reasons why you would do that. But I found another app, yet another of the hundreds and hundreds of photo apps I have, that allows you to add text to an image. And it does some interesting, neat things with the text that I think you guys will be interested in hearing about. It's called Typorama, Typorama. That'll be a little later in our starting point photography segment. As always, we would love for you guys to send us emails to onair@yourmaclifeshow.com. If you wanted to just to read your email on the air, or just want to send us an email, send it to there or to Shawn at yourmaclifeshow.com. Yeah, Monty, hi, my name is Shawn. I'm addicted to iOS photo apps. I so am. I literally have 400 iOS photo apps. And the problem is so many of them do like one or two things, but they do them really cool. And they're like 99 cents. That's why I go, it's only $1. No big deal. But after you get up into the hundreds and hundreds, you're spending some serious money on these things. So yeah, I'm complete junkie for iOS photo apps. What, do we do anything this weekend? We didn't do anything special this weekend, did we? We had planned on doing something special this weekend. Oh, that's right. It was Kim's birthday. Happy birthday.
On Monday, thank you.
On Monday. It was her
the
birthday.
20th.
She got all kinds of amazing presents.
I got Willie G earrings.
Explain what Willie G is for those folks
This
who don't know.
Willie G. That skull, except he's upside down. I can't. That one.
And he doesn't have dog paws on his forehead.
No. Yeah. What else did I get? Forgot now. Got a new helmet. Oh, I got my Union Jack flag. My Union Jack flag. Yes. Yeah.
What else?
And went out for dinner. Went out for a ride.
What else?
Did I forget? What else did I get? I don't know. What did I do? I forgot.
You had a lovely card.
Yes, I got a card. Birthday card. And
What did you eat for your birthday? What did you have special for your birthday that you requested? That you ate? Oh, sweet Jesus.
I did?
Apple crisp!
Oh, yes.
I made apple crisp.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
crumble. Crumble, it's crisp in the UK, right?
No, it's apple crumble.
So apple crumble in the UK, it's apple crisp in America. We called it both in Canada because we're weird like that. This whole cooking thing I've been getting into over the last few months, I love my mom's apple crisp, apple crumble. I tried a berry cobbler, and I'd forgotten the difference between a cobbler and a crisp. A cobbler has got a biscuity topping on it, and it wasn't as good. A, because the biscuit topping was way too thick. And B, the fruit, even though I used 6 cups of fruit, almost completely reduced to nothing. It got soaked up into the cobbler. Yeah. So then I yesterday, on Monday, I made apple crisp, and it came out really good.
It was really good.
Kim specifically asked for extra crisp.
Mm-hmm.
And now I didn't realize, until I talked to you about this, and I don't know how you know this because you can't cook, the difference between a cooking apple and an eating apple.
Yeah.
I didn't realize. I thought you could just use any old apple in any old apple recipe.
Well, you can. You can.
But
it's just you don't want to eat a cooking apple like that. That'd be like, ooh.
So why would a cooking
tart.
apple be okay to cook with?
Because it's less sweet, so it gives you a little bit more tang after it's cooked and mushed down. They're a little bit bigger, firmer, so they don't go to mush as easily as eating apples would. Yeah.
So they stay firm longer in the cooking.
Mm-hmm.
So can you mix eating apples and cooking apples in the same recipe?
Sure, why not? It's an apple.
So you could get...
It's not apples and oranges.
That's my life right there. So you could get, say, for example, if you mixed cooking apples and eating apples, some mushy apple, but also some firm apple.
Firmer
yes. Apple to it.
Yes.
All right, maybe we'll try that next time.
Mm-hmm.
But it was actually very good. And like everyone keeps saying, oh, it's amazing you're getting into cooking. It's actually really easy. If only because I choose recipes that are really easy. The apple crisp recipe was literally cut up 5 apples, put them in a pan. That was easy. And then it was take all these ingredients, put them in a bowl, mix them up, throw them on top of the apples. That was it. There was nothing fancy about it. Nothing complicated about it. It was just, it was a tablespoon of this, a tablespoon of that, some butter, some oats, that kind of stuff. So, if there's any of you guys, especially you guys, because in general, us guys aren't really taught how to cook by our moms. I know it's a stereotype, generalization. For the most part, us guys don't learn how to cook, but it's really easy to do. It's really easy to get simple recipes and make simple foods that are very, very tasty. Dave D says, Shawn, are you grilling yet? Once you start, you are lost. I am grilling, but I'm not a gigantic grilling fan, to be honest with you, because this goes back to the easy part. Grilling, you got to kind of pay attention to. I've grilled a few things. We had some really delicious meat and beef and chicken kebabs, tandoori chicken kebabs, that were, again, easy to make. I made a really nice marinated chicken a few days ago. And Monty's asking about my lamb. I made lamb kaftas.
They were good.
Which are basically lamb shish kebabs, ground lamb. It was really easy to do. I burnt them because I'm still getting used to the grill.
Hence the flames.
Yes, exactly. So I burnt a few of them, but they were still tasty. They were still good. But it's uncomplicated cooking is really easy to do. And I would encourage you guys, if anyone hears a recipe that I've mentioned that you'd like to have, send me an email, Shawn@yourmaclifeshow.com. Right now, as we speak, I'm making pulled pork. And I always thought pulled pork was hard. It's not. You get a...
Not once you've pulled it.
Again, this is my life. You get a big, slimy tube of pork, and I put it in my Lodge cast iron Dutch oven slow cooker. Put the secret sauce. There's a secret sauce. You know what the secret is? Root beer. Who would have guessed root beer is a secret sauce in pulled pork? Just a can of root beer, throw it into the top of the pork, put it on low heat on top of the oven, let it sit for 6 hours. Done. 6 hours later, you get really, really good tender pulled pork. Put some barbecue sauce on it. Put it on some buns. Boom, you're happy. It's just stupidly easy to make.
It's yummy.
And it's very, very good. I made a Memphis-style barbecue sauce last time. Memphis-style means it's vinegar-based. And this next one I'm going to try is going to be mustard-based. A mustard-based sauce. We're going to try that tomorrow. So, yeah, give it a try. Give cooking a try. Give this stuff a try. It's really, really simple. Macman says, get a pork butt roast. Toss it in the crock pot for 6 hours. Is there a difference between pork tenderloin and pork butt roast? I don't know the difference. I don't know the difference.
Butt's bigger. I don't know.
Again, this is my life. I have no idea about the cuts of meat, and I don't think our local shop, Save-On, had any of that stuff. They had pork tenderloin, but I don't remember seeing butt roast, because you would have made a bad joke about it. We can go to a butcher. We have a couple
pork
butchers.
in a butt, yeah.
We can go to our local butcher, and I'm sure he'll be able to have some pork butt roast. If there's any, Monty says yes, there is a difference. MacMan, any grocery store should have them. Not up here in Canada. I knew there were different cuts and different textures. Pork butt, aka pork shoulder. See, there's the problem. Y'all are using different terms for the same words.
How can a butt be a shoulder?
Thank you,
Dave D.
Thank you.
Hello.
Thank you.
Does this look like my butt?
Exactly. So we'll talk more about that a little later on. Again, send me emails to onair@yourmaclifeshow.com. Hiker BC says, huge difference between tenderloin and a butt roast. Tenderloin is for the barbecue. It's perfectly good as pulled pork, I'm telling you, because I made it before. Later on, we're talking about typorama in our starting point photography segment. We'll talk about Wall Street ass hats. But up next, we're going to talk to our good friend Jim Dalrymple from The Loop at loopinsight.com. This is Your Mac Life.
Your Mac Life.
Welcome back, folks. This is Your Mac Life. I am Shawn King. Joining me now in our phone room is our good friend Jim Dalrymple from The Loop at loopinsight.com. Jim, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Shawn. How are you?
I am good. Well, you know, the obvious question is we have to ask you the obvious question. We all saw it, so we gotta talk about it. What the hell were you doing backstage at Aerosmith and Van Halen? What was that all about, man?
You know, just lucky, I guess.
Just chilling with the guitar players from Aerosmith. I got one picture up on the thing now. There's two guys. I don't know the guys' names, but there's two guys in hats. Who are they to Aerosmith?
Brad Whitford is a guitar player for Aerosmith. He's in the center.
Okay. And
then Greg Howard, who's a friend, and he makes Brad's amps.
Oh, okay. And so the next obvious question is, why the hell are you wearing a Gap T-shirt? Come on, man, that is not rock and roll.
You know, these days I got to wear what fits. You know. I mean,
yeah, no kidding. That's what you can't afford new laundry.
Yeah, it was a great time. It really was. And Aerosmith, you know, they did a great show.
What was the event?
Band.
What was the event and where was it?
It was in Salinas, which is about, I don't know, an hour from San Jose. And it was a concert. It was an outdoor concert. So I know some of those guys, so I went down and, you know, went a little bit early before they went on and was chatting and, you know, got to play through their rigs on stage. That was kind of cool.
No kidding.
You know, just lots of fun.
And then I think it was the next night you posted a picture with Wolf Van Halen, Eddie Van Halen's kid. What was that all about?
Yeah, same thing. I just you know, I went a little bit early and to the sound check, and you know, was just checking out Ed and Wolf, and you know, a couple minutes chatting, and then went to see the show. It was great. I mean, Wolf is an incredible player. You know, I guess it goes without saying that talent runs in that family.
Yeah, no kidding.
But Wolf is a really, really good bass player. So I was impressed, I got to say. You know, I've always been a Van Halen fan. And, you know, to me, Van Halen was the original Van Halen with Michael Anthony on bass, and David Lee Roth on vocals. But now they have Dave back on vocals, and Wolf plays bass, and he's incredible.
How cool!
You know, watching him during sound check, you know, he's kind of riffing around while they're doing stuff, and he's damn good.
How cool must that be for Eddie Van Halen to have his kid in his band now? I mean, it's kind of sad that he's that old, that he has a kid old enough to play in his band, but it's got to be a really great feeling for him.
Well, Eddie was probably Wolf's age when he started Van Halen.
True, yeah, good point.
You know, I mean, Ed's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you this: when Ed came out for sound check, and he, you know, the tech came over and put his guitar on, Ed was walking across the stage and had one hand on his guitar. He was walking over to where Wolf was on the other side of the stage. Ed did more walking across the stage with one hand than I've done my entire life.
Yeah,
it was crazy. I mean, I was thinking, I wish that I was that good at anything.
Yeah.
I don't care what it is, anything. Because Ed put that on and put that guitar on, and it's like it was just an extension of him.
Yeah.
And it was, you know, as a fan of the guitar and of music and tone and guitars and Ed and everything else, it's just, you know, to see somebody just be able to play like that is insane. if you were a fan of painting and you got to see Picasso sit down in front of a canvas and just start, whipping out paints and making things happen, you'd be just as impressed. That's kind of what it's like for me to watch, Ed play.
So I promised Twitter I was going to do this, and as a man of my word, I'm actually going to do this. I'm taking my headphones off just to make sure, so when the screaming happens, I don't actually have to hear it. So, Jim, what do you think of Apple Music?
Oh, I gotta go.
Yeah. You write on the Loop Insight today. I had high hopes for Apple Music. I really wanted it to work and become my default music streaming service, but after the problems I've experienced over the last couple of weeks, I'm disabling it altogether. You're not talking about the same kind of problems that I've had, which is user interface and it being down on regular periods of time, and the fact that it just gets some weird error messages. Tell folks what's happened to you. You've had completely different experience and drastically different than I have.
Well, and, people, I think, a couple of people maybe purposely misunderstood a couple of things that I said. And when I said that I love Apple, well, I do, but not because, you're some kind of fan of Apple.
Yep.
And I even explained it in the next line. I love Apple because Apple takes difficult problems and creates simple solutions. Mm-hmm. And that's why I love Apple. I love any company that does that, to a certain extent. There are like Nest. Nest is a great company. Love Nest. Yep. Love what they do. Difficult problems, easy solutions. That's what those companies should do. So when I said also that I wanted to love Apple Music, very true. Again, not because I'm a fan, but because I have so much money invested in purchased music on iTunes. Yeah. That's why I wanted it to work. Not because I wanted to see Apple succeed and all of that. I mean, that's not for me to decide. That's for the public to decide and for Apple engineers and executives to decide. I have a lot invested in music, and a lot of it is, purchase DRM music still. Yep. That's in my library. I just never thought I would see a day when iTunes was so bad that I would just have to disable it.
This is not a minor issue. This is not a one-off issue that only Jim is having. I've been reading reports about this since the beginning of people losing music, and literally losing music. The whatever's going on behind the scenes, the iTunes music, the Apple Music is deleting. Am I getting this right, Jim? Deleting stuff off of your hard drive, deleting stuff off of your cloud backup. Is that correct?
Well, see, here's the deal. I readily admitted in the story that I did not have a recent backup of my music. Yep. And I do have a copy of my music that's probably a year old back in Nova Scotia, but I don't have access to that. Yeah. So basically what I did was upload all my music to iTunes Match, and I would use that on my phone, on my computers, everywhere else. And I had one master copy, which is still back in Canada. So a lot of the music that disappeared on me was from CDs that I've had for years that I ripped and put on in iTunes. And so that's music that I purchased. It's mine. And all of a sudden it's gone. Yeah. From what I can tell, looking at my iTunes Match library before Apple Music and looking at it now, and now that I've turned Apple Music off, I'm missing about 4,700 songs.
That's a lot of music to be gone.
That's a lot of music to be gone. I don't know what songs. I know of a few. I know that, for instance, if I go to my big libraries, my big bands, I know that I purchased almost everything that Ozzy Osbourne ever put out.
Yeah, sure. Of course you would.
So, right. So that one's an obvious one. I'll go to Ozzy and see what's left. There's 100 songs left. Now, I probably had 250 Aussie songs. So, I know that a lot of those songs, like it says, Blizzard of Oz was Ozzy's first solo album with Randy Rhoads.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I had Blizzard of Oz. I had it as soon as it came out, practically. I know that I have it on CD at home. I know that for sure. But yet, according to iTunes Match, I don't have that.
Yeah.
Now, I did find an old iPhone that hasn't been connected to the internet for months, and I fired it up and turned off the internet really quick so that it wouldn't sync with iTunes Match, and looked at my library, and so I do have proof that I have these songs. I can't play them because I need to connect to the internet to play them.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but I do have proof that I had all of these songs, and it's kind of disappointing to me. I mean, I know people expected me to be screaming and yelling, and the fact is, I've been dealing with this now for the past couple of weeks, which is maybe explains why I've been screaming and yelling about other things on the internet, because I've been mad about this. But at this point, really, like I said in the story, I'm just done.
Yeah.
I'm so frustrated. I'm very disappointed that, my music library has been just decimated by Apple Music. Very, very bad.
Dave D in the IRC chat room says, Shawn, ask Jim, have you actually lost real files or just stuff in the index? Because it could mean that it's just not showing up on iTunes. It doesn't mean that it's actually been deleted. Jim?
Good question. I have, I mentioned in the story that I had given Apple all of this information.
Yep.
This wasn't a come out and kick Apple in the teeth type story. There's no surprise here. And I didn't give them the information to, give them a heads up. I wanted to try and fix this issue. That was my main concern. Guys, I'm having a real concern here. And they didn't know really, I guess, what to think. But it appears if you consider iTunes Match to be your library of files, the library of files that I had before Apple Music, it was 4,700 songs more than what it is right now.
Yeah, yeah.
So, as far as I can tell, I've tried to rebuild the iTunes Match library. I've tried to log out of all the devices. I've tried, everything that you can do to rebuild everything. I've tried all that, and nothing seems to work. So from my point of view, those files are gone.
Yeah.
And it seems like, and I don't know, but it seems like Apple Music associated itself with some of my purchased files. Mm-hmm. So when I turned Apple Music off, it said, "Oh, you're turning me off. I'm taking all my files with me."
Yeah, exactly.
And took my files with it. So that's what it seems like to me.
Now, you admit in the story, you say, I also failed by not backing up my library before installing Apple Music. Why didn't you back up your library? Why don't you have a recent backup?
Well, because of my personal situation right now, I don't have a time machine. There is no excuse. Let me be clear. There is no excuse. I could use Backblaze. I could use so many different things to back up my computer. It was, I guess, part laziness on my part just I have other things on my mind, and I trust Apple.
Dude, you're not you're not homeless again, are you? Because you can always come up here and live with me. I can't even really put the full blame on Apple for losing my library, because I should have backed it up. Yeah. Yeah.
And there are many ways that I could do it. I'm not trying to get away from from any blame that I have here.
Yep.
I realize that, I'm a dumbass. I should have had a backup. I realize that before installing something as big as Apple Music, I should have had a backup. I didn't. And, now I'm where I'm at. But it doesn't stop the frustration of having my music gone.
Oh yeah, no kidding. Go ahead.
When I'm playing with Apple Music and I'm using it, I'm doing all this stuff and it's not working. The service isn't working. That's one thing. But when I turn the service off and it grabs music from my iCloud and deletes it, okay, now we have a problem.
Yeah.
Because I'll try your service, but don't delete stuff on me.
Monty in the IRC chat room says it seems strange that an app could actually delete files, screwing up the iTunes index database so they disappear. I can see, but actually being able to the equivalent Unix command of rm-rf user music is disturbing. At no point in time should Apple software delete your files without telling you it's going to do that.
I'm using delete as a very generic term here. Maybe somebody at Apple who's enjoying my 4,700 songs on their iTunes library. I don't know. No, I'm using delete as a very generic term. As somebody pointed out earlier, they could have the index could be screwed up. Those files could be there somewhere floating around the cloud, and they just need to rebuild things or whatever they do.
Yep.
As far as I'm concerned, right now, I am missing 4,700 files.
Yeah, those files are gone.
That are mine, and whatever magic happened to make them disappear, whether they were physically deleted from iTunes Match, or whether the index is screwed up so that they just don't appear in iTunes Match, I don't know. I'm a consumer. I don't care.
Yeah,
I just want my files back. And from everything that I can gather, I don't know that I will get them back.
Yeah.
So I am going to have to repurchase those files. And that really makes me angry.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's understandably so, too. Because, like you said, it doesn't matter. If you were just the average consumer and not a guy with access to Apple tech support and other grown-ups at one infinite loop, because this has happened to a lot of people. This is not an isolated incident. There's lots of folks out there who are in the boat of, where's my stuff? I don't know where my stuff is. It's gone. Whether it's just hidden by some magic on Apple's part, whether it's bad indexing or bad databasing, whatever it is, doesn't matter to the average user. Your shit's gone. From your point of view, it's just gone. And that should never happen.
And there's no way that I know of to get it back.
Yeah.
There's no fix that's posted on the internet right now that over the past week and a half I haven't tried. Whether it's about Apple Music, about iCloud Music, about iTunes Match, whatever. I searched everything that I possibly could to get this fixed. I've given the information to Apple. I've talked to people. I've been fully open on things that I've tried and things that I've done. That's why I said, about the same time I switched over my Beats account to Apple Music, and maybe that's it. I don't know. I was throwing out everything that I could think of that I had done that could have an effect on what's going on here.
Yeah.
But I just don't know. And the bottom line is, I downloaded Spotify again.
Yep. Let's do a what if. Later tonight, someone at Apple goes, "Oh, I figured it out," and flips a switch, and all your music comes back. Will you reinstall and redo Apple Music tomorrow?
No.
That's the danger for Apple, is they pissed off a consumer. And I'm not saying they pissed off the great Jim Dalrymple. They pissed off a consumer. And that consumer is going to be just like you. I'm not letting you burn my ass again.
No, I'm not. It's that shame on me, shame on you thing.
Yeah.
I'm not. No, I desperately want my music back because it's mine and I paid for it. This isn't stuff that I bought it Apple, so although now I do have proof that I own it because it was on that other device, but I desperately want my music back. But if they come tonight and say, okay, all you have, see, here's my concern, that somebody is going to come and say, all you have to do is turn Apple Music on, and we'll give you your songs back. I don't know what I'll do.
Exactly.
I really don't. I really don't know, because I don't trust it. I don't trust it. So, somebody said today on Twitter that in a few days I'll be writing an apology to Apple to stay on their good side or something.
Yeah.
No. I mean, Apple has a lot of my songs. I tried their service in good faith, and they let me down. So I don't know what else to do or say about it, but I'm not going to be writing an apology to Apple. Or Kirk McElhearn is having the exact same issues as me. So it's not just me. There are other people out there with similar issues. And it's amazing how many people on Twitter have said, I thought it was just me. But yeah, this is happening. One guy, I felt bad for him tonight, and I can't remember the name, on Twitter said, I just read your post and decided to check out my Apple Music library, and there's huge gaps in it. Yeah. So, this guy is having the same problem. He didn't even know it.
Yeah.
So
this is just one of many issues with Apple Music. Luckily for me, and I haven't checked it out. I don't think I want to. I'm afraid to find out. I haven't checked out the issues that you're having, but I'm having issues with the interface and the user experience. It's very, very frustrating. And then yesterday being down all day long, and then last week having constant weird, bizarre error messages popping up. This is not a good sign for Apple. Should we cut Apple some slack and say, oh, it's the 3-month trial period, they'll get this fixed before the end of September? Do you think that we're being too hard on Apple with this new service? Or is it because we expect so much from Apple, we demand they do better?
Okay. So actually, people may laugh at your thing, but that's actually a very good question. And I say, no, we're not being too hard on Apple for one reason.
I agree.
If Apple had have come out and said, we're releasing Apple Music public beta, we want you to give it a go, and all this stuff happened, I'd say, you know what? My bad, my fault. I shouldn't have installed the public beta, but I did. But they didn't. They came out and said it was ready, and I went for it.
Yep, me too.
And this is what happened. Now, if anything ever happens to my iPhone, where I now am running the beta build, or my Mac, where I'm running the beta build of El Capitan, my fault.
Yeah.
I will not say a word. You will not hear anything on Twitter or a story or anything else, because, I may, if something happened, I may say, damn, I screwed up.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have done that. But it's my fault because I installed beta software. I know what I'm getting into, and regardless, it could wipe out my entire hard drive. Not Apple's fault, my fault. But they didn't say this was a beta, although clearly it is, or an alpha. But I don't know. I don't think that we're being too hard on them when things are screwing up this badly.
Yep, I agree. And like I said, we do expect more from Apple, but they also deliver more for our efforts. And that's part of the issue I have with Apple Music, is that you were talking earlier in your piece about how Apple takes these complicated things and makes them simple. Apple's taken a complicated thing and just made it differently complicated. It's still complicated. There is still way too many steps I have to go through to get either to music or listen to music. It's just, like I said, the user interface and the user experience is fucking awful with Apple Music. It's so different. It's so different on the Mac versus the iPhone. It's like a completely different application. I have to relearn them both times. It should not be this hard, Apple. Apple, I think, there is no word of a lie, screwed this up big time for whatever reason. They've released it too soon or whatever. I don't care. But this is not, Apple Music is not an Apple product. It feels like it bolted on. This feels like they bolted Windows 3 on their DOS, for those folks who are old to remember that, and that fuster cluck. That this does not feel like Apple.
I don't want people to think that, I'm done with all of Apple's products. No, this has been one very horrible experience for me. I still love my Apple Watch.
Sure.
I still love my phone and my Mac. This is one very bad experience that is going to take me a long time to get over.
Yep.
Because it deals with something that's very personal to me.
Yep.
My music is very personal to me. It's not just let's go get the latest hits. I mean, some of these things are great pieces of history in songs. So, but it doesn't mean that I'm done with Apple. I still think Apple is a great company, and I think that they've done some great things and probably will continue to do great things in the coming years. But that again, it doesn't make me trust Apple Music anymore. But yeah, what if they come tonight and say, hey, get it fixed.
Yep. Just
turn on Apple Music. I feel like somebody's holding a dagger over my head.
Yeah. You make an interesting point, and it relates to some other software too, that one of the reasons why this hurts so much is that it's about your music. It's about that very, very personal thing. Apple has told us how personal music is to both to them and to us. And so screwing with your personal stuff really pisses you off. This is not a Word document that's all jumbled up. No big deal. I'd feel the same way, and this is why I haven't installed or used it. If the Photos app did this to my photography, I would be fucking livid. I know how important music is to you, and my photos are just as important to me. I haven't touched the Apple Photo app for exactly the same reason. I no longer trust Apple out of the box with anything because they screw it up too much. In the last 5-10 years, this is uncommon, but it's not unusual for Apple to screw things up like this. And it makes me really sad for the company. Their software is the crown jewel, along with their hardware, of the company. And for them to, especially with cloud stuff, again, this is a cloud-based issue. Apple continually fucks up the cloud. I don't get it.
I don't even know what the issue is, if it's the cloud or not, or why. I have no idea. I have no understanding of what's causing this issue at all. Maybe it would happen if I have my library right there on a hard drive as well. I don't know.
No.
I honestly don't. I've tried to find out, and I know that credit to Apple. They've tried to find out. They can't. I can't. And finally, yesterday after the outage, and Apple said that everything was fine and back up, I was still without my Apple Music library until late last night.
Yep.
And everybody else said, I was crazy. It was back up. Apple said it's back. Well, I don't care what they say.
Yeah.
It's not back.
That's right.
Because when I click to play one of my songs, it doesn't play. So, that I just had it.
Well, it's going to be interesting. Hopefully you'll find out something from the folks at Apple that can help you out, or whatever it might be, recover your music. But I'm with you. I'm not as far down the road as you are, where you are just completely dumping Apple Music. But I know I'm using it less and less because it's just so goddamn frustrating and aggravating to have to go jump through the hoops and then have the hoops be different, or whatever the reasons might be. It has not been an overall good experience for me anyway. Folks, I've been talking to Jim Dalrymple on The Loop at loopinsight.com. He's got 2 other podcasts that he does, the Jim Dalrymple Report and Amplified, both available on the iTunes Music Store, the iTunes podcast section of the store. Check them out and subscribe to them. Jim, thanks very much for joining me, buddy. I appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Shawn.
Have a good night. See ya.
Bye.
I feel so bad for Jim.
That's a lot of songs.
That's a lot of music to 4,700. Some people don't have that many songs in their entire library. And he can't find, possibly has lost forever, 4,700 songs.
But I mean, I'm no fucking geek, but they got to be somewhere. They're not lost.
Well, the thing is, Apple has had this happen to them in the past with iTunes. I think it was iTunes 4, that if your hard drive was named a certain way and you installed iTunes 4, it deleted your hard drive. Deleted your hard drive. It wasn't in the index. No, it was gone.
But is anything gone, really, in technology these days? Because I think I'm deleting fucking pictures and all sorts of shit, and I guarantee if somebody really wanted to, they could find them.
Depending on how much effort you're willing to put into getting that stuff back. There's a company called Drive Savers that if you pay them lots and lots of money, they can recover most data off a hard drive. But most of us don't want to spend $4,000 to get a bunch of photos back. So it depends on what you need. And yeah, if you're the government can get back almost every hard drive ever. But you're not going to send it to the government. They ain't going to do it. You ain't that important. So there are issues there. Now, I want to get this point in there. Brian Monroe says, sorry, Tim, you may be our Steve Ballmer. It's not that bad yet. It's not that bad, if only because the company, Apple, is hugely more successful than Microsoft was under Ballmer's rule. I don't think these are issues from Tim Cook's point of view, where it did feel like the issues of Microsoft were Ballmer driving them. This may be a fact of Tim Cook being too hands-off. That's what I think is a possibility, that he is not the micromanager that Steve Jobs was. Mm-hmm. It's a trite, common cliche, but this would not have happened under Steve Jobs, because anybody who uses Apple Music can immediately see the issues with Apple Music, at least from a user interface perspective, where different things mean different things depending on the situation of this button will do this, but then it won't do this, then it will do. The user interface is awful. And the aspect of this, where people are losing their music, I don't think would have been allowed to have happened. But Tim Cook is the CEO of the company. He ultimately bears responsibility for it. Not nearly to the degree, I think, that a Steve Ballmer was. Brian Monroe says, I agree, Shawn. I know they're making buttloads of money, but just like Ballmer, that is not, in the end, what is important. Possibly. Hiker BC, I have a few more songs, 9,651. Definitely will be holding off on adding music. You don't have to hold off. Just make sure you have a backup of them. You know, maybe that's too much of a hassle. And I would understand if you said that. But as some folks said when I mentioned it earlier, that they still have the CDs. Someone said they have the CDs of all the music in the basement. Great. But when's the last time you checked those CDs? CDs aren't permanent. They're not going to last forever. If you get mold in your basement, which is fairly common depending on your climate, those CDs may have degraded. Those CDs are definitely degrading. It's the nature of things and entropy. So check your CDs. You may not have the CDs that you think you do have. Oh, I want to send. They're not even here. They don't watch the show. They don't care. But Sly's brother is Peter, and his lovely wife is Treva, and it's their 20th anniversary today. So happy anniversary to Peter and Treva. Congratulations.
For hanging in there.
Hanging in there. They've got 3 lovely, beautiful children, and congratulations to them for being together for 20 years. So good for them. I wanted to mention this. Oh, hang on. This was interesting. We were talking about this with regards to the Apple Watch. By the way, we all know that Apple has made just a metric buttload of money in the last quarter and sold just insane amounts of iPhones and a goodly amount of Apple Watches, although they haven't said exactly the number of Apple Watches. They've sold a bunch of iMacs. They've sold, objectively, a bunch of iPads, not as much as they have in the past, but still, I think it's like 10 million. And my friend Ben Bajarin on Twitter said, I thought this was interesting, and I disagree with him too. He said, having your product wanted is more valuable than having your product needed. I need X, but I want Y. I wrote to him, I said, but needed things are bought when needed, and wanted things can be postponed. And you had a response to that. What was your response to that?
I can't remember.
Jesus Christ!
Well, because I think
Here I had this whole build-up working up to it.
Because it depends what you want. It's all like I might need a new rug for the living room.
Yes.
But I'm not going to buy it because I want a new pipe on my bike.
Yes.
And I like the pipe on my bike more.
And
so
my
I'll
argument was, I thought he was saying when he said need, he was talking about things like food and shelter and a job and things like that.
Yeah.
You're talking about, I think what you're talking about is still want. You don't need a rug.
You do if it's covered in poop stains.
I know that,
from
but
the
you
dog.
throw away the rug and you walk on the bare floor. You don't need
There you
a
go.
rug.
So really you need one.
You don't need.
You need one.
Okay, let's look at it from my point of view. Need as in food versus want as in an Apple Watch. What Ben's saying is that want is more valuable as a company. When people want your product, it's better for you as a company than people who need your product.
Because I think when you want something, you do you'll always want it until you get it.
Yes.
So you're guaranteed you're going to get it at some point because you really want it. You
Okay.
need food every day, but you'll get food somewhere if you get it, buy it, steal it, borrow it.
The other argument, too, is that when you want something, you want that thing.
Right, specific.
If you want the Apple Watch, you're not going to buy a
No.
Fitbit.
No.
You want the Apple Watch.
Right.
Whereas when it comes to food, things we need, if I want cheese and can't afford the good stuff, I'll buy the cheap cheese.
Right.
I'll still get the thing I need.
Yeah, you need food,
I'll
so
get
you'll
a
go
different
craft
version of
dinner.
it. Yeah.
You know, it might not be a steak, but
So.
you'll buy craft dinner. If you want a Harley, you don't buy a Yamaha.
MacMan says, actually, Shawn, I just did that. Yeah, but MacMan, you're an outlier. Come on, admit the fact that you're not. That's not a common thing to do. John Paskowski, Apple quarterly sales were up 33%. Earnings were up 38%. They widened their profit margin. They have a cash pile of Scrooge McDuck proportions, $200 billion. And yet the stock dropped 5%. Not only did the stock drop 5%, the media portrayed it as Apple not meeting analysts' expectations, so therefore they dropped the stock. Now, I understand. Don't give me a stockbroker lesson. I understand why that happened. What I don't understand is why the media portrays it that way. Why doesn't the media say Apple's earnings are this, analyst wrong again? Because that's what they are. Analysts predict X number of things. Apple doesn't meet those predictions in one way, shape, or form. Analysts punish Apple. The media should be saying the stock market analyst got it wrong again. Not that Apple missed expectations. Your expectations were obviously fucking unrealistic. I expected to look outside my window and get a unicorn. Oh, there's a horse. Not the same. Apple did amazing. I think it was like 49 million iPhones in the last 3 months. They're bringing out a new one in September. Why would you buy an iPhone now? I mean, good for Apple. That's 49 million people who aren't paying attention. Who don't know that in 3 months there'll be another iPhone coming out, dude. And the other thing people don't realize, when I think some people lose sight of this, is that these bubbles of users, 49 million this past quarter, 75 million the previous quarter, those people move that bubble ahead 2 years. Because that's when a lot of those folks are going to rebuy another phone. Because most of us have 2-year contracts. So that's what you do, is every 2 years you buy a new phone. So that bubble of people keeps moving forward for Apple. So they can almost be guaranteed, if 49 million were sold this past 3 months, in 2 years, probably sell 40 million at least because of that bubble moving forward. Apple's not getting nearly enough credit for the number of Macintoshes it sold. The Macintosh is sort of like the ugly stepchild. Although that was what the company was built upon, it's the foundation of the company. The overall PC market has utterly collapsed. Down like 12% in 1 quarter, 20% over the year. People just simply aren't buying, consumers in general, simply aren't buying PCs. When I say PCs, I mean Windows-based personal computers. Corporations are putting off buying new PCs. Rather than it being the usual 3-year cycle, it's now being pushed out to 3.5, 4-year, 5-year cycle. Because for a lot of companies, their employees don't need the latest, greatest computer. The computer you bought a year ago, 2 years ago, is vastly overpowered for web browsing, email, spreadsheet, database, Word document, the basic office stuff. That computer is going to be good for that basic office stuff until it dies in 5 years. It's going to have enough RAM to do that stuff. We're talking about the computer on the average desk, the computer that's on the secretary's desk or the assistant's desk or that kind of stuff. Not the specialized computer, but the average computer, what makes up the vast majority of business sales. Brian Monroe says, also don't forget that Intel is getting slower to release updated CPUs, and that really make a difference. But Apple is up 9% year over year. Apple is propping up the entire PC market, which for most of us, if we go back to our 20-year-old self and tell them that, they'll go, yeah, bullshit. Yeah, there's no way Apple is doing that. You're crazy. Apple is actually selling more PCs than every other manufacturer out there. Not more, but percentage-wise. They're actually selling them when other companies aren't. Brian Monroe in the IRC chat room says, but if you look at the numbers, there are a lot more switchers purchasing the iPhone 6, iPhone 6 Plus than people who are upgrading old iPhones. Okay, Brian, you have to back that up. What numbers are you talking about? I know there's lots of switchers from Android to the iPhone, but you say there are more switchers than people upgrading old iPhones. I don't know where you're getting that from. I don't know if that's true. It doesn't feel like it would be true. Arxine, with regards to need, consumers absolutely pay the least possible, hence no profit. Want, folks will pay more, higher profits equal more valuable. Brian Monroe, the numbers I'm reading from Ben Thompson and Ben Bajarin. Brian, send me an email, Shawn at yourmaclifeshow.com with those numbers, because I haven't read those numbers from those guys. Regardless, backing up, my bottom line is the frustration I have with the way the media portrays. This happens every single time. Apple getting nailed in the stock market. And part of it's because the stock market builds in these expectations to the price. And so when those expectations are met, they cut it back a bit. And it's not like Apple stock has crashed. It's worth half of what it was. That's not the case. And it's going to come back. It was down to, I think, below 124 a week ago. It bumped to 131 on Monday and is now down to 125 at the close today. But a week from now, it'll be back over 130. So that's not the issue for me that the stock market is yo-yoing the stock. For me, it's the way the media portrays this issue and this information. The media is saying that the Apple missed analysts' expectations. Instead of flipping it around with saying the analysts got it wrong, because that's what I think is the story. I didn't get a chance to talk to Jim about this, but I think this is one of these stories that we don't hear enough about. We're slamming Apple, rightfully so, on Apple Music. But this was hilarious. Kim, you know what iAd is?
Nope.
It's Apple's ad serving service. So when you download a game on your iPhone, and there's little ads that come across or ads that pop up.
Yep.
Some of those ads are created and sold by Apple. So that company will contact Apple, hey, we want to sell an ad on your app or these apps. And they all get dumped into a big hopper. And every time you open up the app, you'll get a different ad. It's called the iAd network. Well, a top advertising executive at Apple has left. Winston Crawford, the former head of Apple's mobile ad marketplace, joined this company. Here's his logic for leaving the company. I don't believe they, Apple, are interested in this capability of being able to track people via advertisements because they have a strict policy around what they do with user data. iAd has great assets and great capabilities, but they're going to follow Apple's policy to the letter of the law. What this guy is saying, what he's complaining about, is the fact that he says he can't do his job properly because Apple won't let him track you, the user, as you use things on your phone. Because what happens is if an ad company can find out that you like to go to perfume websites, they'll send you more ads for perfume.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you like to go to car sites, they'll send you more ads based on cars.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Apple won't let them do that. They won't let you track that way.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy is saying it's a bad thing. But for us as consumers, we're saying, thank you, Apple.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Don't track me. I don't want to be tracked. There's nothing more annoying than going to a website, searching for a product. I have this for I don't know if I can talk about it just yet, but there's a company that wants to hire me to do training. I'm going to Toronto in August to talk to them about doing training. So I did my research on the company. I did some searches on the company and wanted to find out what people thought about it. Well, now for the past week, every goddamn ad I see on the web is from that company. Every ad I see is pimping, and sometimes there'll be 4 or 5 ads on one page for the exact same company. I don't want to buy anything from that company. I'm never going to buy anything from that company because from a banner ad. I've never clicked on a banner ad my entire life. It's never going to happen. And yet every single goddamn time I'm being tracked and served up ads. What this guy is complaining about is Apple won't let him do that on the iPhones. Thank Christ. I'm glad Apple won't let him do that. That's a freaking good thing. Apple won't let this guy track people that way. All right, let's do the starting point photography segment. As I said earlier, it's the old cliche that a picture is worth 1,000 words. Sometimes you want to actually add words to your pictures, and there's all kinds of apps that can do that. I probably got 10 of them on my phone, but this one isn't better or worse than any other. It's just a little different. I thought I'd show you guys this fun little app. Let me apologies, get rid of Kim. What are you doing thumbs up for? We like seeing you. So the app is called Typorama. You can see it right here. Typorama. So if you're going to look it up, it's Typorama. The funniest thing is, I just did this, Kim. Mm-hmm. I'm clicking right there. I'm clicking. Why isn't the app opening? Why isn't it? Oh, it's on my phone.
Hello, it's on your phone.
It's on my phone. There it is. So the app opens up. Let me see. I can't get this bigger. Can I get this bigger? Zoom? Oh, that's wrong. Why did you? What are you doing? Don't jump over there. Come back. For God's sake! All right, there we go. So the first thing that happens is you can choose either one of their backgrounds or choose one of your own. And I haven't bothered to use their backgrounds. I don't care to put text on their backgrounds. So what I've been doing is choosing my own photo. So in the upper right, you can see where it says camera roll. And so I click up there to camera roll, and up pops up all my photos. So let's just pick one of the photos that I like. Now you can see at the bottom, you can choose to crop or not crop, and you can move the photo around. You can choose the crop. Whoop, where'd it go? You can choose the. That's not what I wanted. I said crop. I can do this right. Now I go crop. Yeah, that's not what I wanted. Never mind. First time I tried to crop something. That's why that didn't work. Okay, so I'll choose don't crop. Now, at the bottom of the screen, it pops up and it says double tap to edit. So if you wanted to change the text, and this is a place in downtown Vancouver called Canada Place. So I will just type in Canada Place, Place, and hit return. Done. Whoops. Continue anyway. So there's Canada Place. Now with my finger, because this is the iPhone, I can drag that up to there. So now I've got the text above the Canada Place graphic. Now here on the bottom, you can see it says text styles. That doesn't mean clothing. It means text styles. So as you click on things, it will change the style of the text. So you get different fonts and different looks and different graphics associated with it. I kind of like that one. You can also choose bottom sliders of opacity and shadow. So I can make it a little lighter, a little darker, drop shadow. I can also change the color too. So I want it to be red, white, black, gray, whatever colors they have there. Let's go with orange because the orange looks kind of cool. So then you choose text tools. And text tools, same thing. You have an opacity slider. You can blur things. You can again add color and text. You can change the X and Y position of it. But one of the cool things I really like doing is here at the bottom it says 3D rotation, and this is where things get kind of fun. You can change by the way you twist it around the way the text would look. So you can make it come in, look like it comes on an angle. You can get really kind of creative with the way the text looks. Just by sliding these sliders around. Again, these are not difficult apps to figure out. Then you have a bunch of filters. You have all the usual filters that you get on any other type app. On the bottom, you have the intensity of the filters. You get some overlay stuff. So if you wanted to make it look like it was raining or snowing, which in Vancouver is not hard to do, kind of funky kind of text. I kind of like this. What's this one called? Bouquet. And you can, again, intensity lower. Then you can make the usual adjustments.
Bouquet? Is that someone that can't spell?
What? Bouquet, but bouquet is that a little light flare that you'll get. I'm just playing around with some of the usual sliders that you'll see on every app, saturation and all that kind of stuff. And blur. You can watermark it if you want to add your own personal watermark. And at the top in the upper right, you can click OK Share. No, go away. And then you have all the usual places where you can share things. Pinterest, Twitter, WhatsApp, Messenger. I'm going to save it to my desktop. And that's it. That's it. That's all you got to do. You should want to cancel? No, I don't want to cancel. Yes, I do want to cancel. Okay. There's no back button, so I click yes. So this is kind of a neat, fun little app. They've got a bunch of their own filters there or their own backgrounds that you can use. There's even a one where you can add your own text to their image. So if you wanted to, you could put text inside of the coffee mug, inside the iPhone, inside the notepads, things like that. It's kind of a neat little app. Give it a try if you'd like. I don't know how much it costs. Because unfortunately I don't bother paying attention whether these things cost anything or not. Typorama is the name of the app. TYPORAMA. Give it a shot. Okay. Oh, we got emails. As always, we get lots of emails from you guys. Send us emails to onair@yourmaclifeshow.com. Or if you want to send me emails during the show during the week, send me emails to Shawn@yourmaclifeshow.com. Let me get Kim back up on the screen. There she is. Oh, we had someone asking questions about the flags. You want to explain the flags for me?
Which flags?
Flags.
Our flags? Union Jack. Your flag. Nova Scotia.
Now, for those folks who may not be clear on this stuff, and many of us outside your country are not, what is the difference? It's a test between England, Great Britain, and the United Kingdom. You better know, because I do.
Well, England's one country on its own.
Yes.
It does not include Scotland, Wales, Ireland, or Northern Ireland.
Yes.
Great Britain is everything
Except.
Southern Ireland.
And.
No, that's everything.
No, Great Britain is the island of Britain. Scotland, England, and Wales. Doesn't include Northern Ireland.
It doesn't?
Does not. The United Kingdom.
Includes Northern Ireland.
And.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
The United Kingdom includes.
That's on its own.
No, the protectorates of England too. The Isle of Man and all the other little
Channel Islands.
Channel Islands and all those other kind of places.
Oh, yeah.
There is a great YouTube video if you want to check it out. Great YouTube video if you want to check it out. I don't know the name of it, but do a search on YouTube for Great Britain, United Kingdom. And this guy comes up with, it's a really fascinating explanation of all the different permutations of the UK and Great Britain and Wales, and he explains Ireland, Northern and Southern. It's really kind of neat. And he's also got a really great explanation of the City of London, which is one of the weirdest places in the world politically. How the fact that the City of London is actually, what we think of as London, isn't actually London. The City of London is actually a 1 square mile block in the center of the area of London. It's really interesting. You want to check it out. Do a YouTube search for the City of London. It's really good. Yeah, that's his name, Brian Monroe. CGP Gray. He's got great stuff. Fantastic, really good explanations that are really good. Brian Monroe points out the app Shawn is talking about is in the USA store. It's obviously in the Canadian store too, because that's where I would have downloaded it from. Typorama. We ought to talk about this. Let's see if I got the right. Our friend Maurice Chevalier in Calgary is looking forward to tonight's show. I may be able to listen to some of it until my scout meeting. Last show you asked who would buy an iPod Touch. Well, my wife Shelley just bought a 64 gigabyte version, replacing her old one. I asked her again about the phone, but she declined and chose the iPod Touch. She just doesn't want to pay the monthly fee to Rogers, Telus, or Bell. Fair point. So, she'll still carry her flip phone and her new iPod Touch. She's down one item, the camera, since the Touch has a very good camera and it works for her. Well, that's good to hear. Thank you, Maurice. Scott Randall. Glad there wasn't a show last week. I had a chance to set up and play with Apple's music. So far, I really like it, and I think I will use it quite a bit. I have 90 days to decide. I did not set up automatic renewal. Yes, I'm one of those old fogies who will not be listening to Beats Radio. I don't, however, think age is the only factor. In addition to teaching physics and chemistry, I also have a master's degree in music theory. I worked as a professional musician for 30 years. What I like to listen to is jazz and classical, some country, and bluegrass. My sons are also both trained musicians. They also like bluegrass and what some call nerd rock. Bands like The Might Be Giants and stuff like that. Neither of them have any interest in listening to Beats Radio. I suspect they are not the only ones, even though they, like myself, might be in the minority. Don't get me wrong. I really like Jim and Read the Loop every day. However, I don't like metal at all. I have no criticism of what other people like. In conclusion, though, so far I can make Apple Music work for me, and I'm enjoying the unlimited access to all the styles and artists I like. Scott Randall at my favorite Macintosh user group, the Long Island Macintosh user group. Are you listening to Beats at all at work?
Nope.
You listen to Apple Music at all
Nope.
at work?
No, I don't have time.
You sit in front of a desk doing nothing all day long.
No, not all day long. No.
Most of the day long, you sit in the desk, don't do anything.
No, I don't actually. I do a lot of driving around.
Why? Why are you driving around?
Because that's what I do. I drive around and go under bridges and fall into
troll.
culverts. And yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah, and don't make the mistake of thinking that Apple thinks that Beats music is for everyone. No, Beats music is top 40. That's what Beats music is designed for. Now, maybe in a year's time, we'll get a Beats for jazz or a Beats for classical or a Beats for metal. Right now, Apple is going after the largest segment of the population. And at least, Scott, you gave it a chance. Unlike that asshat, Philip Elmer DeWitt from Fortune, who literally had the balls to write, I listened to Zane Lowe for one song and I turned it off. Really? One song. You gave Beat Music a full 3.5 minutes of your valuable attention. You can't judge this stuff based on one frickin' song. You can't judge it based on a day of listening. You gotta listen to this stuff. That's part of the problem that we have nowadays with our tech media. Everyone needs to write something now. So they'll listen or use or read or do something for 5 minutes, then make a judgment call based on it, then write a blog post based on it, and even worse, not admit that this is a rushed point of view. They do it and they go, and there we go. That's the end all be all. That's all you need to know about this subject. Well, you use it for 35 seconds, you jerk off. Don't listen to any review of anything done 5 minutes after the thing came out, because it's just going to be full of shit. So I got, Marcus Mendez. He said he wanted to let us know that he started his own podcast. It's called Cafe BDI. He said, I can't listen to it. Why not? Well, it turns out it's in Portuguese. But congratulations, Marcus. He said, it's a short 5 to 7 minute daily podcast. The reason I'm emailing you about it is because you and YML really helped me decide to just up and do it. You've been doing YML for so long, and I can see that you still do it with passion and excitement. And this is the sort of thing I want to do with my own life. So thanks for that. YML definitely helped me get off my ass and just do it. I'm still really green when it comes to pretty much everything that revolves around a podcast, but with time and practice, things will surely improve. And they're right now the #1 podcast in Brazil, so good for you. What I really want to do is have a podcast that does more than just tell the news in 5 minutes, but I figured this would be a good start. It was very funny. Lots of folks saw the tweets over the past few days. Apple has put a hashtag 10 years of iTunes podcast or something like that. And it was the funniest thing seeing all these people going, oh, I've been listening to podcasts for 8 years, or I've been doing my podcast for 5 years. I'm like, yeah, rookies. But I didn't realize that it's only been 10 years since Apple opened up a podcast section in the iTunes store. And the reason that's amazing to me is because I've been doing Your Mac Life, or versions of Your Mac Life, for 21 years. I've been broadcasting on the internet for 21 years. That's a long frickin' time.
You're an old fart.
I really am. There's no doubt about that. But it was hilarious to see all these folks. And it's, part of it's my own fault for pissing all these people off. Jason Snell mentioned me in his 6 Colors website. And it was funny and sad at the same time. Snell said, let me see if I can't find it. Sorry, I got to get rid of Kim again. No, I don't want to get rid of you. But this is a lot harder than it should be, Apple. Okay, you stop. Oh, God damn it. See how this stuff is just jumping around? I'm trying to hit that green button, but it keeps moving. Oh, for God's sake. No, I did that wrong. Exit full screen. Jesus, that's a lot harder than it frickin' should be, Apple. And now I've got a search field up here for no apparent frickin' reason. The help screen has popped up. No, go away. All right, fine. Calm. Be zen. Be calm. So it was Six Colors podcast. 6 Colors website, 10 years of podcast. And so Jason very kindly, mentions me on his post. And he says, this month, Apple's celebrating 10 years of podcasts. There we go. And he said, of course, podcasts have been around for more than 10 years. I remember Shawn King broadcasting radio on the internet in 1994. Now, originally, Jason said, I remember Shawn King broadcasting radio on the internet in 2004. And when I read that, I tweeted him and said, that's funny because by that time I'd already been doing it for 10 years. And Jason said, remember, Jason is the former editor of Macro Magazine, editor-in-chief of Macro Magazine. And Jason said to me on Twitter, really? Has it been that long? I said, yeah, I started March 19th, 1994. He said, wow, that's amazing. You must have been doing, so we chatted about it for a little while. So then he went back and corrected his website. So it now says, I remember Shawn King broadcasting radio on the internet in 1994. Okay, so you changed that to 10 years back. And several other Apple-themed podcasts date from the early 2000s. And on the article, he's got a little link you can click on, a little number 1. You click on that. He says, Adam Christensen's MacCast premiered in December 2004. Okay, so what does that got to do with anything? He has a link to Renee Ritchie. He has a link to the Macworld podcast number 27. He's a link to a featured Leo Laporte story. He has a link to the Ricky Gervais story, a link to the original TV Talk Time, the original TV podcast, The Incomparable. He's got links to all these other people, but he didn't link to me. Dude, stop being a douchebag, okay? It's what happens on the internet. You mention somebody, you link to them. Mentioning me in a sentence and then linking to somebody else? Fuck you! It's not like he linked to a guy that started his podcast the same year that I did. He admits it was 1994. He's not linking to any of the podcasts that came out in 1994. You know why? Because nobody did! I was the first and only Macintosh-focused podcast for like 5 years. So why are you linking to Adam Christensen? Oh, I know why. Because you don't like me. Oh, boo fucking who? Because I stepped in your dick at some point. Oh, Shawn was mean to me, so I'm not going to mention his name or link to him. Oh, fuck you. God, that pisses me off. Oh, dear. Brian Monroe says, what about Adam Curry? I said Macintosh-focused podcast. Adam Curry wasn't doing a Macintosh-focused podcast. And actually, Adam Curry and Dave Weiner created the XML aspect of podcasting. Lots of people were recording audio and posting on a website for you to download later. Lots of people were doing or trying to do a live show that you could then download later. It was Weiner and Curry who created the idea of this automatic download of those files where you didn't have to do anything. It just showed up whenever it was available. It would just show up. So that, and then when Apple came along with the idea of the iPod in 2001, that's when these sort of things, because they could be easily as MP3s dumped onto the iPod, that's when it became podcasting. I think the funniest thing about all this stuff was Leo Laporte whining about the fact that the Apple list of 10 years of podcast didn't include him. Are you serious, Leo? You publicly whined that Apple didn't include you? Well, you know what, Leo? You know why Apple didn't include you? Because you didn't want to call them podcasts. Leo thinks everyone's forgotten about this. He didn't like the idea that Apple was taking over the word podcasting. Apple was doing no such thing. So he tried to get everyone to let's not call them podcasts. Let's call them netcasts. That's a fucking stupid idea. And no one followed along with them. So guess what, Leo? Maybe that's why you were left off the list of the top of the 10 years of podcasts. Because Apple was like, no, dude, you were being a douchebag at the beginning, so we're not going to include you. Anyway, that was my little rant.
Little?
Well, this happens all the time in general, but certainly happens in the Macintosh community. These douche nozzles who say one thing to your face and are all nice and buddy-buddy to your face, and then they go and do stuff. Because the thing is not so much the personal recognition, although I want that. It's the idea that, remember, this is how search engines and Google work. It's by links. If the more links to and from your website, the more you show up in search fields.
Right.
So by Jason linking to MacCast and Leo and the Incomparable, those guys get a little bit of bump in Google. Just having my name on a fucking page doesn't do me any goddamn good. Plus, it's just disrespectful, dude. It's just absolutely disrespectful to mention someone and his podcast and the fact he's been around for 21 years and then mention some other guy. Fuck you. And the podcasting horse you're in on. All right, that's it. I'm done. Stop this foolishness. That's it, folks. Thank you guys very much for joining us, as always, here on this show. I appreciate you guys being tuned in live, or if you're listening to the archive, I always like having you guys tuned in however you can manage to listen to us on this here show. There's something else I wanted to I forget where it is. Never mind. Probably not important. Guess where we're going this weekend?
I have no idea.
Salsa dancing.
Oh, yeah.
No, we're not.
Here we are.
I'm not dancing.
Oh,
Are you going to dance?
I might jig around a bit.
Here in Vancouver, every Sunday afternoon, at the Robson Square, they have free salsa dance lessons from like noon to 3. And then from 3 to 7, they have open salsa. And there's a huge, basically half-size ice rink down there where folks just come. It's like a high school dance. You know, girls over there, boys over there, and you come dancing. But and so they play salsa music, which is great music. And so what we're doing is I'm taking my meetup group down there, and we're going to go down and take pictures of the salsa dancers. And I'd love to see. Can you salsa?
I can eat it, just like Monty said, yes.
That's pretty much my level of salsa, too. I can't. The white part of me is what's taking over my dancing ability. I can't dance for shit. But it's great fun to watch. It's a lot of fun because some of them are really good dancers. I know of at least 3 professional couples down there I've taken pictures of. But even some of the amateurs are really good dancers. And it's fun to watch. And it's hot and it's sweaty down there. And you get beautiful people and girls in skimpy dresses and guys in tight shirts. It's a lot of fun. I've taken some. What?
Okay, nothing.
What?
I'll let that go. Guys in tight shirts.
I was describing that for the ladies.
Oh, okay.
And Monty.
Okay.
So it's really good, fun photography to go down there too. So bringing a bunch of, hopefully 10 or 15 of my meetup group folks to go down there. So, but then in the morning we've got a special surprise for you.
Mm-hmm.
Looking forward to that. So all that is our plans for the weekend. So until next week, I want to say thanks to you guys for joining me here on the show. As always, I've been Shawn King.
And I'm Kim Guy.
Never mind. Look at this. Connection's dropped. Oh, God damn it. For some reason, the connection to my Mac to the sound for the show has fell off a cliff.
Uh-oh.
Now it's gone. The hell? I can't end the show without music. There we go. Okay, share screen. You stupid piece of, you know what? Oh, for crying out loud. Something else that really bugs me about Apple. They cannot fucking figure out how dual monitors work. See, I'm over here on this monitor, right? And I click share screen, and it pops up on that monitor. How the fuck did it pop up on that monitor? I'm over here, dummy. So now I got to drag this back here. And back over there. Did we ever do the goodbye part?
Bye.
All right. Yeah, sorry. I fucked that up. I've cursed a lot this evening. I think it's your fault. You curse like a sailor. That's it? You're not gonna help me out here?
No.
All right, fine. Folks, that's it for tonight. See you next week. See ya!